I'm always surprised at how many companies don't trust your data. They look at a chart or report and get this uneasy feeling that something's not right. I call this funky data. There's multiple reasons why you get funky data, but the outcome is always the same. If your team can't trust the data, they will not use it. I'm going to show you 3 common scenarios that cause funky data and how to solve them. Hey there, my name is Ruben and welcome to Hidden Gems, where I help companies use data to make better decisions. Funky data is one of those top issues that you have to stay on top of. If you don't, it can derail your entire strategy. I'm going to show you 3 scenarios that I have seen over the past 60 plus client projects in the past 5 years and how we were able to solve them in each scenario. 1. Technical mistakes. This is what people assume when they look at numbers that don't seem to make sense. There's obviously something wrong in the technical portion of the data, that is, how the data was collected, and sometimes even the engineers themselves who actually implement it get the blame. Technical mistakes need to be resolved by comparing it against a secondary data source. So imagine you're looking at first-time purchases, and your marketing tools seem to be underreported in some of the numbers. You should be able to compare that number versus a reliable secondary source like your payment processor, which is likely to be 100% correct. This will help you figure out if there's any weird differences in how the data is being queried. For example, time zone issues can be something that changes how data gets reported, and the underlying query itself can be quite different. You'd be surprised how the same words and terms have different meanings for different providers. So comparing sources and ensuring that the query underneath that you're looking at is the same across multiple tools. Scenario number 2 is misaligned expectations. This is really common, especially for teams who haven't actually been using data for a long time. So for some reason, they were operating under an assumption that the conversion rate was 10%. And then one day they get a report that tells them the conversion rate is actually 6%. So right away, there'll be some resistance to that 6% number. But really, if you think about it, the 10% was assumed. Maybe it was done in some napkin math, and now the 6% is the actual number. In this case though, what you'll need to do is educate your team on how the data works, and that you triple check all the numbers, and this 6% is the real number. Over time, those trends will help also realign expectations, right? If 6% is the average, once you see that over multiple months, teams will come to accept that that is actually the actual number that you'll be operating under. Scenario number 3 is all about unexpected user flows. This is very common when looking at any kind of checkout flow or onboarding flow or sign-up flow. You look at it and you say, hey, we want to know how many people created an account and then went on to buy a subscription within 30 days. Very simple query, very simple question, right? Then you look at the numbers and you realize that for some reason your report is missing 20-30% of all the actual purchases. What's going on? The data is obviously not right, and so on. In this case though, you actually want to double check for any weird unexpected user flows. What that means is, let's imagine that a user created an account 12 months ago, and now they're purchasing a subscription. In that case, it will not be included in this 30-day query of people who create an account and then purchase a subscription, even though it's technically their first subscription. So for this scenario, you really have to explain and dive deep into all the different edge cases or weird things that can affect what seems to be like a straightforward query, right? If you don't, same thing will happen. People will lose trust in the data. Remember, the funky data is something that affects nearly all teams, but you have to keep working at it, right? This is the difference between a successful data strategy and something that gets started and then gets eventually dropped because no one's using it. And people might not use it because they don't trust it. Right? And that's it for today. If you enjoyed this video, be sure to subscribe and you'll get access to future videos right away. There's also a link in the description for my weekly newsletter where I share similar ideas and resources. I think you'll like that. And until next time, we'll talk soon.